It all starts with a question. Why don't I just do the thing? My name's Peter, and this is Stacks and Facts. Hey everybody, happy 2026. It's been a minute, and you probably haven't seen me since then. Maybe you have, but for those of you who haven't, good news, I'm still alive. I've been thinking to myself for the past few years now that I should just do the thing. I should just make a video of something just to let people know I'm still alive and doing stuff. And then I didn't, because it turns out that when you have a kid, life gets busy, especially when you have a kid and then you also get a promotion slash brand new job. So amongst all of that and the general chaos of the world, in case you haven't noticed it, I have not really had time to sit down and think about like a proper video that I'd like to make, which is what I would like to do. And so if you're like waiting for a video that tells you all about the secrets of library and information science, this is not it. This is just to let you know like what's been going on with me, and maybe you'll get something from that. Maybe you'll have an idea of like, oh wow, librarianship is a weird and awkward path if you want it to be. But yeah, I wanted to make something. So this is my New Year's gift to you, just an update of what's been going on with me since 2022 or 2023 when you last heard from me, assuming you didn't see those little short videos that I've occasionally put out. Not very often, but sometimes. So we'll start from the top. Last time you saw me, late 2022, early 2023, I had just started parental leave and I had a toddler at home, and I stayed with that toddler at home for like 6 months. And some of that was just straight up hanging out with the kid time. And that was great. That was lovely. Some of that was hanging out with the kid time, but also working from home a few hours a week. Also lovely. And like, before I started parental leave, the job that I took parental leave from, I worked as a public librarian, and it was a part-time gig, very part-time. Like, I ask for hours, or I volunteer to take shifts that other people couldn't. And that was okay. I worked enough in that to be able to actually get money for parental leave, which was great. And so I took it. But besides that, I also worked at the time I'd been doing some contract work for nonprofits in the US. And after a while, this was before I started parental leave, one of them was like, we're tired of like constantly signing contracts with you. So could we just like hire you as a part-time employee? And I was like, yeah, sure. Sounds great. I like stability. I like, sick pay. So I did that. And I worked at that job. I took a little bit of time off from that during parental leave, not too much time, because it's all work from home. And then early 2023, my boss reached out to me. And by my boss, I mean like the head of our organization. She and I had a little sit down, and she's like, Peter, I noticed that like you care about what we're doing, like a weirdly high amount. I was like, well, yeah, that sounds like me. That sounds about right. And she's like, cool. Do you want your boss's job? And I was like, I like my boss. I don't want to replace her, but I would also love stability and a higher wage and paid vacation. Yeah, that sounds great. And she's like, oh, don't worry. Your boss isn't going anywhere. It's just right now she's wearing like 12 hats, and I just wanted to wear like 10. I was like, oh, okay. So we hashed the details out, and then agreed that as of around June 2023, May 2023, I would take over. I would step into a new role at my organization, working as head of library services for my organization, which like basically meant lots of policy work, lots of general librarian work because we have 2 librarians, and a little bit of collection development. Well, lots of collection development, all of the library work you would think for somebody who works for a digital library, and then also some management stuff, which was fine. I enjoy that stuff quite a bit. When I was in the Navy, I made it to middle management. I was a non-commissioned officer, an NCO, and like I like taking care of people. So that all sounded great to me. So I took the job. And we may recall, us folks here, that around 2023, that was also around the same time that ChatGPT came out, and that people were getting exposed to it and getting used to it. And unsurprisingly, a digital librarian working in the open education field, ChatGPT and other tools like it kind of took up a lot of the air in the room. And so I found myself like kind of trying to understand all of that. And one way that I figured out how I could do that is I rejoined ALA, the American Library Association, and I joined ALA Core, which is like a subdivision or a division of the ALA, because there was an interest group, and the ALA has an interest group for AI and machine learning and libraries. And so I joined, and then I became co-chair of that, and then I started researching at the time, like what possible applications these new generative AI tools could have in the digital library space. And this was very early, like June, July, August of 2023, and we were still feeling things out. And like there were concerns, of course, but not to the point that there are now. And so as co-chair, I had a few opportunities that came up that were really cool. I got to edit a special edition or special issue of Information Technology and Libraries Journal, which is one of the journals that ALA publishes, and got to see A, what it was like to be an editor for a journal, and B, get exposed to a lot of literature out there, which is really cool. And at the same time as doing that, like also working this new job where like my first priority was we bill ourselves as a digital library, so maybe we should have like a collection policy, because we didn't. We had guidelines. So I threw myself at those two big things, as well as all of the other things that you have to do to run a digital library. So reviewing materials, cataloging, answering people's questions, reviewing materials, cataloging, answering people's questions, supporting my organization's partners. So we partner with other organizations in the education space to help understand open educational resources, OER, and licensing and how to make good ones and all that jazz. And that was all very fun and good and busy keeping. And that was my life for a while. And it still is, just to be clear. So then after that, so that gets us to like 2023, through 2023 into 2024. The collection policy that I created and got some help putting together, I had my coworkers review it, and then I got the sign off from everybody, and then I put it in place. And now it's there. And I love that because, having a collection policy on the one hand, like it lets us point at something and say, hey, how do we handle the situation? What are we actually bringing in? What are we not bringing in? And with this document, I can say, look at that. This is what we have. This is what you should be basing your decisions on. And that's nice because it gives us guidance, and it also helps keep us accountable. So the digital library that I help run, we are open to everyone. Anyone can go there and upload resources. And since it's all openly licensed, it's all free. Anyone can go there, upload resources, download resources. And that's really cool. But also, like, there's just two of us librarians doing this work to review all of the things that come in and catalog. And some of that is handled by the fact that we let users submit metadata when they submit records, but not all of it. And so it was really helpful to have something that would say, hey, I would love to bring this in, but it isn't up to standards. Like it doesn't fit what our collection policy says. And so collection policy lets us say no, but it also like keeps us from saying no inappropriately. And I think that's important as a library. I think we should, be accountable to folks. And all of this time, still doing my best to co-chair the AI and Machine Learning and Libraries Interest Group for ALA Core. And that ended up materializing in like just really trying to do my best to understand what's going on with generative AI and all of the harms that come with that. And like, what are the potential uses and what are the ethical sticky bits? Because like now, 2026, I think we can look and see like, well, there's excitement on one side, and there's dread on another side, and there's disgust on another side. And all of these sides, they're not from nowhere, right? And like, trying to hold space for all of those perspectives and understand where they're coming from has been a challenge, and it's been fun. And yeah, that's been a thing. And so the way that I've been shaping my approach to being the interest group chair is helping people make informed decisions, right? So we haven't had a lot of discussion on the discussion boards. We have some, but when it comes up, like, I try and make sure that folks aren't just getting like the sparkly-eyed answers of like, oh yeah, AI can do everything. It's like, well, AI can do a lot of things, and AI, air quotes AI. It can do a lot of things, but also not perfectly. And there are some use cases that are better than others. But if you are going to use it, like, maybe you should also grapple with the challenges and the sticky ethical stuff of, like, most of these models were trained on copyrighted materials that the people who created these materials didn't give permission. There is a huge environmental cost with training these models. Less so running them, but training them, certainly. There is the awkward issue of, like, you have to pay to protect your own privacy, which, like, to be fair, is kind of the case with most of the internet, including here on YouTube. But it is what it is. But all that to say, just to make sure that when the conversations happen, like, they don't end up being one-sided, because as useful as I think some of these tools are, the people who make them are not talking about those negative things out loud and publicly. And a lot of librarians and a lot of folks in librarianship have seen these issues, and justifiably so are very skeptical, and, like, don't particularly want to use them. And I think that's okay. But I don't think that, like, given our profession, given that we talk about ourselves as information professionals, I don't think that not wanting to use a tool is a reason to not understand it as best as we can, because, like, as librarians, we serve our communities, right? And our community members are going to have questions, and I think we need to be able to answer them. So that's kind of all of that. And then some other things that came up from this role that I'm in now, and I've been at it for coming up on 3 years now. I'm getting a little tired. But I got invited to publish a paper in a new journal, like a trade journal that the National Library of Korea is publishing, South Korea. And they wanted basically a perspective, like a piece talking about AI and machine learning in libraries in the US. And so I did a bit of research, and I whipped up together that manuscript, and I'll post it. Maybe I'll post links to these things I'm talking about. So the ITAL journal, maybe the digital library I work at. I still feel weird mixing, like, this YouTube life that I still somewhat fill with my proper professional life. And a link to the National Library of Korea article. Maybe I'll post those in the description. If I do, if you want to see them, check there. But yeah, it's been a lot, and it's also opened a lot of doors for me. In my job, I get to work with folks across the country, around the world, in fact. I've been to a few conferences now to learn about libraries, learn about AI and libraries, and learn about open education and libraries. And those have been great. And in fact, I will be at ALA 2026 this year again. So if you're going to be there, leave a comment below and let me know how. And we'll, I don't know, do a meetup if there's enough people, but probably not. But I've also gotten to meet a bunch of folks in Mexico and across Central and South America. One of the advantages of speaking Spanish. I have gotten to really help amplify the creators of OER in other countries on the platform, on the digital library that I help run, which feels very gratifying, because right now a lot of OER kind of feels one-sided. Like, it feels like English is the language of OER at times, and I don't like that. So I've been working on bringing in more non-English OER into OER Commons, which is the digital library I work at. And, like, I've gotten opportunities to travel to Mexico for work. I met amazing people at UNAM, the Autonomous University of Mexico, which is in Mexico City. And yeah, it's been very busy. All to say, it's been very busy. And so trying to figure out how to fit YouTube Stacks and Facts into that has been a bit of a challenge. But I'm always here. Some of you who have left comments know that I will occasionally reply to them. For the folks who want to know if I can help you get a job from India, the answer is no. I would turn this into a Q&A, but like that's the big question I get. I can't help you get a job from India in the United States or Canada. I'm sorry, but thanks for watching anyways. The other things, anything else? I mean, I don't know. Well, feels about it. This video is getting a little long, so I'm going to stop recording. But I hope this was useful. And if you watch this, thank you. Like, leave a comment below and tell me, man, old habits die hard. Leave a comment below. Comment, like, subscribe. But yeah, I read the comments. I read all of the comments. I read that one nasty comment in the last video that I made saying, well, we're not going to get into that. But it wasn't very nice. And I hope that your life got better after that. But yeah, I read the comments. If you want to talk to me, that's a great place to reach out. Otherwise, I'm not that hard to find on the internet. Just go look in and you'll see me. To those of you who are just starting your first semester working or like at library school, congratulations. You're great. Watch my other videos. Good luck. You got this. Again, here to answer questions. And I guess until next time, don't forget to ask questions. Okay. Comment, like, subscribe. Happy New Year. And I'll talk to you later.